Ian from Easy Genie, and today I'm going to give you 5 steps when you're preparing to scan photos, old family photos to put into your digital collection or to use them for some other purpose. And basically the first step of any sort of process for dealing with these photos, and you can see there's a lot of photos here and there's another batch in this envelope right here, is basically to have your technology in place. Whether you're using your phone to do the scanning or a flatbed scanner, I have a new piece of equipment that I'm gonna be using to do it, but basically have that in place and then also have an idea of how the photos are gonna be organized on your computer. So you can organize them by family, you can have some sort of naming convention, but that's the first thing I do is always think about the tech. And then you go to the next step, which is keeping the family separate. So this folder right here, this manila envelope, this contains about 40 photos from the maternal side of the family, and this is the paternal side of the family. And it's really important not to mix them up. And what I often see is photos just get tossed in a shoebox someplace, they get intermingled with different families. And the problem with this is later on when you're dealing with a photo that maybe, there's not much information, like this one on the back, it just says September 1942, 2 weeks old. So, and you're not sure if this is from which branch of the family, that means you have to ask, you have to do more research. You might have to reach out to different members of the family, like, hey, Uncle George, do you remember who this is? And they may say, oh, I have no idea. Then you have to go to another branch of the family and try to figure that out. But if you know which branch they're from, it makes identifying them a lot easier, because that means it just basically reduces the number of people you have to ask about it. So the third step is actually having a process for naming and captioning them. And let's go back to this photo again. It's an incomplete caption. I'm glad that somebody did this, put the date down and 2 weeks old, because that lets me actually identify who this is. So this is my aunt when she was born. However, I don't know the second person here. This probably could be her mother or her aunt or someone like that. But anyways, there's more information to add in the annotation on the back. Whenever you're annotating something, regardless of the system you use, make sure that you're using archival ink or ink that won't damage, or a writing instrument that won't damage the photo itself, because you don't want to do that. So fourth step is deciding what to keep. And actually, I'm going to turn to a system that Michelle Doyle, she's a genealogist, she shared it with me in an interview that I published on the Easy Genie blog, and she called it her ABC's system, okay? So A, absolutely keep them. These are the precious photos. Maybe, it's extremely special because of whoever's in the photo. In this case, this is my grandfather and his younger brother, Frank. So this is a portrait. It's the earliest photo I have of them, actually. So this is something we're gonna keep no matter what. In fact, this could actually put on my mantelpiece. It's that important. So that's something in the A category. So the B category, these are photos that help to tell the story. And I say B is for brings detail. So this is my grandmother, March 1923, standing on the running board of a very old car. I'm not sure what kind of car that is, but this kind of helps tell her story. It's not the best photo I have of her, but it's a pretty unique photo nonetheless. She looks so, pretty in that dress, and she's standing on this old-fashioned car. This is actually 100 years ago that this photo was taken, basically. So this is a special photo that tells a story. It goes in the B category. C are the stuff you can throw out. And these are photos where maybe they're not that good, they're blurred, you have no idea who the people are, and it's unlikely you'll be able to find out because the photo is so dated. Like in this, here's another example. So someone was taking a nature scene, it looked special, they took a photo, but there's nothing special about that right now, and this is not worth keeping. So these are gonna be canned, can them. C, throw them out. And then D, these are the special photos that maybe you don't have any other photo like it anywhere else, even if they're not that great. And this is an example, 2 senior citizens standing in the backyard. You may think, well, that's nothing special about that. But actually it is, because this is the only photo of my grandfather and his second wife. So this is something that I want to keep to, even though the photo itself is not that visually impressive. But this is one that is a special one. So that goes in the S pile. And then I think for the last step to keep in mind when you're doing this big scanning project is actually to have a system for storing the photos afterwards. So these photos started out in a manila envelope like that. Sometimes they're in a shoebox, but they're gonna end up, after I scan them, in a family binder. And I have family binders for each branch of the family. On the front, I use an Easy Genie fillable PDF to have people's names on them, so I can kind of have a quick reference there for that branch. And then inside the binder itself, you can see I have copies or originals even of the photos, and they go in there. They're in kind of acid-free sleeves. And this is really a helpful way to kind of keep stuff organized for other projects later on. Anyways, I hope that helped. If it did, be sure to leave a comment or share it, and I'll see you next time.